My name is Richard Sergiovanni, and I'm the creator of the Grimps.
We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing where we can. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing one-night stands.
The Grimps story started 500 years ago when they were minstrels living in a faraway land. There's Winston, Mac, Mooney, Magic Alex, and Emerson. Everyone loved their music, except for one, Spectre, the wicked wizard that was very, very jealous of their popularity and cast a spell on them, turned them into hairy Grimps, and cursed them for eternity into the forest of Dingle, where they never would be seen of again. Until one day, Magic Alex was able to come up with a spell that transformed them temporarily back to humans from sunset to sunrise and resurface as the great musicians they were, the new pop sensation, the Grimps. My inspiration for the Grimps came when I was looking for a new creative project to put together, so I decided to combine my two passions, which was rock and roll and cartooning. My music background goes back to the day I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I was inspired and started playing drums. I played in bands in New York City for years and just had a great passion for music. After graduating college, I freelanced as a cartoonist. The cartoons I enjoyed as a youth: Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, Stan Lee in Marvel Comics, especially Spider-Man, and Bill Keane from the Family Circus. When I was 8 years old, I was visiting an aunt out in Arizona, and I heard that Bill Keane had lived out there. So I looked him up, I took a bus on my own, found out where he lived, knocked on his door unannounced, and said I want to be a cartoonist. He was very gracious. He brought me into his studio. He showed me around. I thought it was so cool that some guy can make his living sitting in his room drawing cartoons, and at that point I was inspired. Each episode is going to have stories promoting positive messages, introducing original music, and from time to time going back and touching on the history of the Grimps. The first Grimp we have is Winston. He's the creative genius. He's very blunt and honest. Then we have Mac, the melodic, real musician of the Grimps. Usually pushes everyone around to make sure that the music is absolutely perfect. And Mooney is the wild and mischievous drummer of the Grimps. He's wacky. Then we have Emerson, quiet, very spiritual. And then we have Magic Alex, who is not one of the musicians, but he is their manager and their wizard. Some of the other secondary characters that are in the show: Domo, kind of like a cross between Rocky Balboa and Herman Munster's, the only person that really knows the Grimps' secret. Then we have Billy and Shears, friends of the Grimps from 500 years ago. They unfortunately were both caught in the moment the spell was cast and were shrunk to miniature size and banished to the forest of Dingle with the Grimps. And we have Greenie. Greenie is the paparazzi. His quest is to follow them, get a picture of them changing so he can sell it to one of the supermarket magazines. And then we have the fan club, Sin, Maureen, and Patty. These three girls love the Grimps, follow them around, keep the fan base going. Spectre is the evil wizard that cursed the Grimps and banished them for 500 years. He reoccurs in the storyline once the Grimps come back to society.
Having fortunately been involved in a lot of young startups,
the Grimps struck me as being something very special.
That is also going to be a point of education as well.
Subtly teaching the history of rock and roll.
The fact of being able to sit down with your family and watch something and hear some music that is not tearing anybody apart or hurting anybody along the way. It's telling a story.
As a father, I think it's really important to present good content to children today. I believe that the Grimps will be the next big thing in kids animation. Popular programming that you might compare the Grimps to might be as simple as The Lord of the Rings meets the Beatles. My wish list for voiceover talent for the Grimps: Ringo Starr, Jack Black, Steven Tyler, Adam Sandler, Debbie Harry, Ozzy Osbourne. We have very, very commercial characters, great storylines, positive messages, original music, and with many, many licensing opportunities and platforms. Movies, video games, apparel, toys, ebooks, websites, and MMOs. In 5 years, I see the Grimps being a huge entertainment property. I know that the Grimps is going to be the type of show that children, parents, and grandparents will enjoy together and be able to sit down and find it entertaining. A successful half-hour children's animated TV show, similar to what was done in the 1960s with the Monkees. We are going to present original music through this cartoon band, teaching positive messages to children and produce hit records.